Welcome back from our studios in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is Retirement News Online. So one of the biggest fears people have about retirement isn't the stock market. It's actually running out of money. Studies show they fear that more than death itself. Weird, huh? So you've worked your whole life to build your savings, and now you have to make sure that that lasts as long as you do. That's not always easy. That's why we have Gregory Belger here in St. Louis, Missouri. Gregory, thanks again for joining us today. Why do you think so many retirees worry about running out of money, and that they fear it so much that they fear it more than dying?
Because I think the word retirement seems like you're dying. I don't even like that word,
True.
right? I like calling it like my second life, right?
Okay.
If we start thinking of it that way, we'll start thinking that I got to stop hoping and I got to start preparing and getting ready. So I think they fear running out of money because when we get those statements in the mail, we kind of just chuck them in the drawer. If they're green, that's great. If they're red, we still chuck them in the drawer because we don't want to see it. But I think that they fear running out of money because they don't know where that check's going to come from. When you work with an employer or you're a W-2 employee, or even if you're a 1099 employee, you count on that money maybe coming in form of every 2 weeks, or as my grandmother would say, a paper check. So I think sitting down and actually looking at those accounts and figuring out how you're going to access those accounts will give you more confidence and will let you know what you can depend on.
And so this goes back to what you said earlier. The hoping is what a lot of people are doing. Mm-hmm. So they don't really have a plan in place, because you have to plan for income because so many things can change. There's policy risk, there's longevity risk. I mean, people are living way longer than Social Security. When Social Security was developed in the 30s, I think the average lifespan was 58. Yeah. That's how the government still has Social Security, because they kept all that money. But today, people are living longer, they're healthier, and retirement probably be more fun for them. So anyway, when we talk about the main risks causing them to outlive their savings, what do you think those are?
Well, obviously we have inflation.
Yeah.
Obviously we have volatility that will always play a factor. And then the cost of goods. Obviously, when the cost of goods are going up and things like pensions are going away, you don't have that guaranteed income anymore. That was a big deal. You had the pension, then we transitioned to the 401k. Some people are still lucky enough to have both, but most don't know how to maximize and use that 401k, and it's because you're going to have to do it yourself. And doing it yourself starts by sitting down with someone like myself and allowing me to show you how you can maybe turn those 401ks or IRAs into your own pension.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, because I mean, the only real pension-like thing that some people have is Social Security, right? Because that's essentially an annuity in many ways. So if somebody doesn't have a pension, how do you give them their own pension?
Well, you can create your own pension, number one, by figuring out how do you transfer your accounts from your 401k to maybe your own privatized pension. When I say privatized pension, people have no idea how those things work, right? Which is why we need to sit down and make sure that I understand your lifestyle so I can craft your own privatized pensions, because there's more than 100 different ways to do it. We need to figure out the best way for you, though.
So to people watching right now, what's the top 2 ways that they can really help themselves not run out of money in retirement? The first one is probably working with somebody like you, or working with you specifically, but what else can they do?
Well, there's a few ways. When you have your money in these accounts, at some point when you've made great money over the years, you have to know when to take some of it off the table. If you're 59 and a half, even if you're still with your own employer, most don't know that they can roll money out of the employer-based plan into their own privatized plan, which helps prepare them for their second life, by the way, and protect that, right? If we all went to the casino and we gambled all night, at some point we got to take some of those winnings off the table. So we take those winnings off the table so that they will be there for us to provide income. So that's the next way. The next thing is that don't be afraid to do a rollover 401k or a rollover transfer into your own IRA, which would be your own privatized pension account. People fear doing this because they're afraid they'll be taxed, they'll be afraid that they'll lose money, and it's actually the exact opposite. You can do it in a non-taxable way and do it in a way that'll provide yourself lifetime income, and that's something I can help you do.
Put a plan together.
Put a plan together.
That's a great idea. Gregory Belger in St. Louis, Missouri. This is Retirement News Online. Thank you again for watching.